Prepare yourselves
for an entertaining and somewhat informative.
Somewhat.
Yeah, just really somewhat.
Somewhat informative hour of MMA Talk podcast. What are we now? Radio?
We're radio, man. We're live.
Oh, we're live. So happy Friday, everybody. I'm glad it's the weekend. We got big fight coming up this weekend. But before we get into that big fight coming up this weekend, we'll talk about that big fight that happened last weekend. What'd you think about that card last week and some of the decisions, Bimbo?
It was an interesting fight card. I mean, what the big one that stands out and with the most of the controversy is Ed Herman's fight.
Oh man,
not a low blow, and then to find out that nobody knows what the damn rules are as far as instant replay. You know, they're saying the commentators, they're going, you know, they can't really do this, and they're saying, but at the beginning of this fight, and even Nevada Athletic Commission comes out and says, yes, you can use the replay for this. So, I mean, during the fight, they're talking to somebody in the UFC that's in charge of that. They say you can't do this. Dana White says you can't, but the Athletic Commission saying, yeah, you could have.
Yeah. So if for people who don't know what happened, Ed Herman is fighting Mike Rodriguez. Mike Rodriguez was putting the business on Ed Herman. Definitely made Ed Herman look, you know, like an aging fighter. Not that I'm not a fan of Ed Herman, but you know, he's getting up there in age and he's had a lot of wars, had a long UFC career. I think he's almost 40, maybe he's 41, not sure. But Mike Rodriguez gets Ed Herman on the cage and throws a knee to the solar plex and then another knee looking like to the liver. Well, Ed Herman goes down in wincing agony pain. Clearly, it was a body shot. The ref steps in and calls time. And Mike Rodriguez was like, time for what? He's like, so the ref was like, low blow.
No, he didn't say correct that. He didn't say low blow. He said he goes for a nut shot.
Nut shot.
He did. He put that out there. He goes, nut shot. And I'm like, never heard that. I mean, yeah, you usually hear a low blow. He called that out. Yeah, it's a nut shot.
A nut shot.
Which clearly was not.
Yeah, I'm going to have a hat made. I'm going to have a hat that says nut shot. So going back and watching the replay, it was just a perfectly placed knee to the solar plex. And the second time, I think he kind of hit left side, maybe the liver or the ribs. And it was a clean shot that would have ended the fight because Mike Rodriguez starts to kind of, you know, wail on Ed Herman. And then that's when the ref jumped in. He landed one or two, you know, glancing blows. But that was the end of the fight. It should have been the end of the fight. No repercussion, nothing, you know, even after the – so anyways, Ed Herman comes back the next round and gets a submission victory.
Well, but Ed Herman – and I've read a lot on this, you know, did he play that up? You know,
he played.
He was – and even Bisping says, well, damn it, who's his acting coach? So there were some good quotes out of that whole night there. So he took full advantage of the time to recover. And then in his post-fight, he goes, well, I'd have to look at I'm not sure if it hit below or above the belt. I'd have to look at the tape to see. I'm like, you're going to know that. But on the other side of that, when you say, when an NFL player, going back to football again for Ocho, catches the ball and it kind of bounces on the ground and he pretends like he caught it. You're acting and all these things. You're running to first base and, you know, or you knew the guy missed the tag as you're sliding into second, but he tagged you and they called you safe. Does the guy say, no, he got me? So no one really steps up and corrects the officiating in anything. But Herman played that up and kept going and taking the time. Yes, and then came back. Even in the third round, he was getting his ass kicked. But it only takes one little mistake, and there's that he got that Kimura and won the fight. So
that was a bad Kimura. You know, I didn't like that. I didn't like how that whole thing played out. It was kind of upsetting to me. For one, Mike Rodriguez won that fight via, it would have been a TKO. So he gets robbed of that. Then he comes back and gets his shoulder torn off. So no telling what kind of damage he took after that. And B, you don't get your win bonus. Your paycheck has been cut in half.
But
Ed Herman gets the money.
Dana White felt so adamant about, that Rodriguez won that fight. He also paid him his win bonus.
That is
so. It was awesome to see him step up and pay that win bonus to him when he saw a misjustice there. And Rodriguez is still looking at having the fight overturned. I think he's going to appeal the decision on it.
I would. It should at least be some type of draw, if not the full victory, because there was no. I watched. They show the replay. I was like, maybe the knee on the way down, but no, it was clearly just a hard. I mean, it started with a hard body kick, then a knee to the body, and then another knee to the body, and he just crumbled into the cage and started getting pounded in the head, and then the ref jumps in, calls time for a nut shot.
Yep. Yeah. So that was one of those fights, interesting fights, but how will it change? Will it add any change to the UFC and how they're doing things? Will it create new policies and where they're going to really maybe stop and look at replay? I mean, you have replay in just about every other sport, but every other sport has a stop and start.
Yes.
I mean, most sports do. Hockey does not necessarily have a stop and start. I mean, they do blow the whistle at times. So they review things there, but NFL, baseball, all these other sports, it does stop after each play. So it gives them time to review it.
Right.
Maybe they'll find some way to implement that, and I don't know how that works or what that would mean okay, they look and think, all right. And even if he challenges the outcome of the fight, will it end up being a overturn to a draw, a no contest, or give him the victory? If they overturn it, give him the victory, does Herman have to give back his win bonus?
Fuck that. If I'm Ed Herman, I'm saying fuck that. Am I mad at Ed Herman about it? No, not really. It's like you said, if it happened in football or baseball, they're not going to throw themselves under the bus. He truly may not know where that shot hit. I mean, you get hit in the liver, you get hit in the nuts. It's almost the same kind of sickness. So maybe it was so hard, it made his fucking nuts hurt. That's what I only think I'm thinking.
Yeah, that could very well have been it.
Who we got on there? Logan Young. We got Correa. What up? Mr. 2-1 Fizzo. Don Turnage. What's Don Turnage say? Can you read that? Everybody like and share this. All fighters act sometime. So I can barely read that. It's coming in so small. So Don Turnage says all fighters act sometimes. Yeah, I get it. Especially if it's going to get me the win bonus and get me into the next round, Don Turnage. We need to get Don Turnage back on the show.
Yes, we do.
I miss that guy. I like the way he chokes me every time he sees me.
Don, I'm pretty sure Don Turnage has his own stories of how fighters act. So I've had this conversation with Don before. So he and I both know what the conversation I'm referring to. That's I'm going to leave it at that.
All right. I bet Don Turnage has got the best fight story. He's there. He's in the cage. He's right there. So I'm sure. I mean, he hears it all. He hears every moan and groan and slap and fart noise that comes out of those fighters.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
I've seen a fighter get kicked in the liver in sparring and poop his pants before.
Thanks for sharing that, Joe.
I'm just telling you, those liver shots
I know.
Reset your bowels.
They can really make a big impact. I mean, everyone says, "Oh, it's a body shot," but it's a body shot directly at an organ that, when hit properly, you lose all control of your muscles, your body, and everything, your bowels, and you collapse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've said this a million times. I'd much rather get knocked out cold by, you know, a shot to the jaw than getting knocked out with a liver shot. Man, did you guys, let's back it up. Did you guys see Bellator? Kat Zingano made her debut at Bellator. She looked okay. She fought a girl that was big and strong. She didn't make weight. Kat Zingano was way more skilled. So it was a good tune-up fight, but it was good to see her back in the cage. But the fight I'm referring to, and if some of you guys watched that Bellator fight, Raymond the Real Deal Daniels, which is a kickboxing, karate, Bellator kickboxing phenom of a champion, and with like 200 kickboxing fights, which, you know, like 100, 100 kickboxing fights, whatever. YouTube Raymond the Real Deal Daniels, but this guy went to throw a roundhouse kick, and Raymond Daniels hit this guy in the nuts with a spinning back kick to the nuts as the guy's leg was extended. And there's no audience. So YouTube this. I mean, I'm sure you guys can YouTube this. I can't remember who the opponent was, that Raymond Daniels, but it was just last weekend. And so he hits this guy in the nuts, and there's no audience, so it's not loud, and everything's mic'd up, and you can hear this guy just crying in pain. You can hear every moan and groan, and he was down for the full, what they give the guys, 5 minutes, right?
Yep.
Right. So,
but a spinning back kick like that is a powerful kick,
especially from Raymond Daniels. Raymond Daniels knocks people out with his kick, and when he hits them, they go flying 10 feet. So look, I was reading what that said, what Correa was saying. So the ref calls time in. The guy goes in and throws a high head kick at Raymond Daniels, and Raymond Daniels, so this guy's legs fully extended up, right? And Raymond Daniels throws another spinning back kick that hit him underneath the guy's balls as hard as Raymond. I mean, it lifted him in the air, and this guy hits the ground yodeling like a wounded animal in the forest. It was the most disgusting sounding nut shot. I mean, and they replayed the sound.
I did not see that fight, but I'm cringing as everyone else is listening to your description of that. I mean, you can feel that pain.
So it didn't hit him like flat in the butt. I'm like, the guy's leg was up in the air, so it hit him like halfway up his balls and his taint with a full speed spinning back kick. And this guy was praying to God in the ring. I mean, they had to carry him out, dude. I mean, I'm sure he went to the hospital.
He needed more. Correct. He needed more than an ice pack.
He needed more than an ice pack, bro. It was disgusting to watch. And I never see Raymond Daniels miss. He don't miss, especially 2 times in a row. So I don't know if, Raymond Daniels is a 40. I don't know if he just off a step that night or this guy's kick was just, I don't know, but 2 shots back to back, spinning back kicks to the balls. Raymond Daniels don't miss shit. Raymond Daniels could kill a fly on the wall. You know what I'm saying?
So how did they rule that fight then?
No contest.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a no contest. So yeah, Correa, look that up. It was Bellator last week, and Raymond the Real Deal Daniels. But look up his highlights anyway. That dude's bad.
All right, because wait, back up for a minute there. So it was ruled a no contest.
I believe it was ruled a no contest because it was in the first round.
Daniels now has committed 2 egregious fouls in the sport, and this is where the sport lacks a little bit of what are these rules there to do? You grab the fence when you're getting pulled down.
Right.
It stops the takedown. There's just a warning. There's really never points taken away. There's nothing really done for these fouls. So I mean that's for 2 in a row. That's pretty egregious of kicking the guy in the nuts so he can't continue.
Well,
to me, those are penalties and fouls that create a larger penalty. Which is it losing all your points for that round? Is it losing the whole fight? If the fight can't continue, then I think you're disqualified. It's like an illegal knee.
Well, so low blows from spinning back fist, Raymond Daniels, Peter Stanek. So there is something on YouTube about it. I'm just going to kind of click on it in the background. But you can hit, this guy never misses.
Raymond Daniels lands one here to Peter Stenoni.
Oh man, oh my God. Look at that. Can you see that?
That's enough. That's enough ball kick for me.
Really hurts. You can see
that's the first one.
All around here. Punching the mat in pain.
I mean, he is crawling like a dog.
He took over. He certainly took over 5 minutes to recover here. This was the longest time I've seen referees give someone.
And then look again. Boom. Oh, look at this guy.
Then they let the fight continue. He finally recovers after a gruesome recovery.
Oh, that's still the first one.
Jeez.
Look at the second one. Pop again.
This time they run the replay, and it's even more horrifying than the first time. The first one was
Look at that. Oh, so you're telling me, look at this. Boom.
Yeah, to me, that's a disqualification.
They carried him out in a stretcher because he got kicked in the balls so hard. So I don't know if Raymond Daniels had something against this guy, but don't piss Raymond Daniels off, not without wearing a steel cup. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? And I did hear a quote from leading into this weekend's fight. I thought I heard a quote that Tyrone Woodley said he would take a point deduction and for kicking Colby in the
Colby coming to him in his MAGA nuts.
Yeah. And I'm like, if you're already saying it, you're coming in with ill intent that you're going to cheat. To me, that's more than a point if you're saying that. Just my opinion. But let's go back to the rest of the fights in this card. Yeah, we had and
Bobby Green looked real good. Beat Alan Patrick. He made Patrick look old and rusty. Patrick hadn't been in the cage for a while, but he had some good moments. But Bobby Green's just on fire right now. So good win. Congratulations, Bobby Green. Man, that guy's growing on me every week. Every time I see him fight, I like him a little bit more. He even commented on the wrestler that died in the Middle East that was executed at the end of the fight because we'd all heard about that. Yep. So moving up the card, Roxanne. Now let's get back to
Kevin
UFC.
Crone.
To who?
Kevin Crone. Didn't he came in? I think it might have been his first UFC fight on short notice.
Mm-hmm.
Came in as I think he was the largest underdog on the card.
It was like by 1,000 points or something.
Yeah, and he ends up with a standing guillotine
and submits Roosevelt Roberts.
Yep. Yeah. So that was a good. It's always cool to see those, first timers, huge underdog, come in and perform at such a high on such a high level and do so well.
Yeah, everybody wants that job, man. They want to get that paycheck for sure. Roxanne Modafferi versus Andrea KGB Lee. I still think Andrea should change the KGB to something different. I don't know.
Send her a message. She see if she starts thinking about it.
Andrea, I don't know, the Ninja Lee. I quoted something the other day. I can't remember, but I think Andrea Lee won that fight. She won the striking. She outpointed Modafferi on the scorecards at the end of the fight. She outpointed Modafferi every round in the striking, I believe. In the 3 rounds they fought, Roxanne did have a little bit of cage control and got her down a few times, but no damage when she got her to the ground. She basically got on top of her, went for a few submissions, was more holding her down than anything. And I've seen Andrea Lee lose a couple of fights to the judges like that. I don't think she's losing the fights to the opponents. I think she's losing the fights to the judges.
But see, and looking at the scorecards from the judges, everyone had the first round for Roxanne, all 3 judges, and I believe she dominated the first round. She looked much better. Lee had the second round on all 3 cards, and I agree with that one. So it comes down to the 3rd round, and like you said before, okay, who the winner of the fight is usually who does the best in the last round, last couple of rounds if you're in that championship round. So they all put it in Roxanne's favor on the third round. They were unanimous with the judges on that one.
Well, she got the takedown in the round to hold Lee down, for the last, she was taking down the position. I mean, I'd have to really go back and watch it, but she took KGB down and pretty much held her down, didn't beat her up. I don't know. I just thought Lee did better in the striking. And I don't think Roxanne was landing a lot of that stuff. She was throwing, even in round one, she was really busy, but what was she really landing? If you go back and watch it, Lee was bobbing and weaving and deflecting a lot of those shots. And maybe I'm just, a KGB fan, and when you're watching it one side, I watch it one-sided. You
watch it with your Elvis rose-colored glasses.
Yes, I do. So
the next fight after that was Otman Azatar, who's been on a tear. He's 13-0. I mean, he comes out and finishes it in the first round with punches. You got the KO on that. That was another good fight to watch.
Kama Worthy, yeah. Because Kama Worthy's a bad dude, and I was shocked. Otman Azatir, he put a whooping on Kama Worthy. There's a lot of guys that we hadn't heard of that are coming up through the ranks, man, that are some badass dudes. So everybody's got to step up their game. These new young dudes coming up, man, they're hungry and they're vicious.
Yes, they are. So what about the main event then?
That was a fantastic fight, for one. Let me tell you, in my fight of the year candidate, maybe not the fight of the year, but it can go up there in fight of the year, because Michelle Waterson and Angela Hill fucking threw down for 5 rounds. And you know what won that fight? You know how Michelle Waterson won that fight?
Go ahead. Give me your opinion, Joe.
She turned it into karate. She turned into the karate hottie. She started throwing those axe kicks, stepping side kicks, and getting a lot of side movement. Well, Angela Hill hasn't been fighting that long, and she didn't grow up in a Taekwondo karate background. And if you've never seen those angled kicks coming and the spins and the stepping side kicks, they're going to get your ass, because if you're just strictly Muay Thai and you've never seen an axe kick or a stepping side kick or a spinning back kick, they're going to land. I've been in plenty of Muay Thai scraps, and when I'm not a great Muay Thai guy. When the guy is much better at me at Muay Thai, man, I'll get into my karate stance and I'll start throwing the spinning stuff and the side stuff, because it comes at a different angle. That's what won Michelle Waterson that fight.
And I think of those first 2 rounds, Angela Hill on the ground, her striking, her movement was a lot of what we had talked about last week, where she looked dominant. She's much better on the feet. And I think with Waterson trying to stand and box with her more, she was getting tagged. I mean, Hill was looking like she was going to take it,
like we predicted,
or take her out earlier in the fight.
And that's what we kind of predicted. We predicted Hill would come out and box her fucking head in, and she did that the first 2 rounds.
And Waterson tried to take her down, which was I mean, she has, I think, 8 submission victories, but I didn't think she was going to take it down. I thought she would stay with her karate style, which, like you said, she brought that back in later in the fight.
And that's what won the fight.
So if I do recall, someone said Hill in the third, and someone said a decision victory for Waterson. I don't know what we wagered on that. But
we all thought Hill was going to – I thought, and I think what we predicted was Hill was going to win the decision on points and just outbox her. I don't think Hill has the power and the knockout power to, I didn't think she'd had the power to knock out Michelle Waterson. Michelle Waterson is tough, and I think she's a little thicker than Angela Hill. And what made the difference is when Michelle Waterson, the karate hottie, stopped trying to box her and got into that more side stance, karate stance, and started landing those hard body kicks and kept the pressure on her. And then those hard body kicks and the attempts for takedown freed up the hands. She started taking away the point. She started getting away with the points. And I think Angela Hill, like I said, you remember I texted you guys that night before it started. I was like, Angela Hill may come in a little flat or be flat towards the end of the fight because she has fought 4 times this year, 4 or 5 times in the last 12 months. That's a lot of camp. That's a lot of training camp. That's a lot of sparring, and you're going to be tired. I think she got tired towards the end, and Michelle Waterson, she looked fresh towards the end of the fight, and that karate stance is what got her, what got that fight. If you guys have not seen that fight, go back and watch Michelle Waterson and Angela Hill from last weekend. That was a fucking throwdown, and I don't know if they got a fight bonus off that, but they deserve it, man. That was a great fight. That was the best fight of the night. I think it was the best fight on that card for sure.
They did have fight of the night, Joe. So they both got an extra 50 for that. Which is good.
I'll take that any day.
Yep.
That is good money. So y'all go watch that fight. Find it somewhere. I don't know if you can go back. If you got the ESPN Plus, it's probably still up, or I don't know if you can YouTube it or whatever you do.
It is. You have to dig for it on ESPN Plus because I rewatched some of that as well. It seemed like it was buried back in their ways, but I found it and rewatched it. So you can get out there and still see that one. So speaking of apps and all that type of stuff, you mentioned to me the other day that did I see Haley Cowan's in the LFA? I don't have that. I don't have the app for that.
I don't either. I did go to YouTube and just watch the highlight of when she got choked out, and I didn't see. I'm not even sure what round it was. But where they took off from, it was a mistake by Haley Cowan for one. Kickboxing 101, man. You never lead your combination with just a kick. Haley Cowan threw like this inside switch kick, never got her head off position, and old girl just busted her right in the face because she threw this little switch kick and she left her head there. She didn't set it up with punches. Most kickboxing guys and Muay Thai kickboxing, they always teach you set up your punch, throw your punches to set up your kick. You always punch, then kick. You never just go in there and throw a weak switch kick to the end, like a left switch kick to the inside leg and keep your face right there. Because that girl just blasted Haley Cowan with a straight right because she didn't get off center. And that was just a mistake by Haley Cowan. And I didn't see the beginning of the fight, so I don't know how the rest of the fight went and how it looked or who was winning because I don't have those apps and I can't keep up with all the apps you have to watch fights these days. So then she drops Haley Cowan. Haley Cowan, I don't remember who rushed into who, and she grabs her in the guillotine, pulls guard, and just tapped her out pretty quickly. And we're all hail Haley Cowan fans here, but you can't make little mistakes like that and get caught and stuff like that. Not if she's trying to get to the next level and get there. I'm still a fan. It's something to grow on. Step up that striking game, and like I said, I didn't see most of the fight. I only saw that little scenario where she threw that little switch kick and then got clocked and then choked. So I don't know, but that was a mistake that it's gonna eat at her for a while. So I'm sure she's back in training, and I'm a huge fan of her and that whole organization they have down there with Dirty Dez and the Yellow Ranger and all those guys, great fighters that they have coming out of that Brennan gym down there. So let's see her improve that striking and don't make little mistakes like that anymore. Spend some time in some high level kickboxing. I don't know who her kickboxing coach is. I'm sure she's got a good guy, but little mistakes like that will cost the night for her.
That is very true.
Hope she's not mad at me, but I just call it like I see it.
Yeah, and I know she's not. She's probably more upset with herself and what she didn't do, and she's very positive person.
Yeah,
she's like, I'm going to learn from this. I'll move forward. So
yeah, she has the tools She has the athletic ability. She needs to put it all together. She needs to put it all together and keep working her way to the top, because I believe, once she couple more victories in the LFA, she's easily moving up to the UFC and fighting on the big show. That's what I think. She's got the talent to be there, and she's really young. She's not very, she's still very young in her career. So let's see what happens. I'd like to see her keep grinding, step it up, and string together some. I want to see her go in and finish a couple of girls these next few fights. And I think that this loss this weekend is going to fire her up, and she's going to come back better, because she's a champion at heart, is what I believe.
Yep. Yes, she will. Yes, she will. So we're on Saturday night. Saturday night. This card is this is one that I'm really looking forward to. I mean, whether it's names on there, I know a lot more people on there that I've seen fight in person. So I mean, from Irwin Rivera to Sarah Alford to ready to go, Kevin Holland's on there
tomorrow.
Damon Jackson's on there. Ryan Spann's on there.
Damn.
So and then
the DFW is representing.
And you got Cerrone, and then you got Covington Woodley. So
all tomorrow night. Look, guys, if you're new to the UFC, you're coming from boxing, and we're boxing you in the main event. You only watch the main event. You don't care about the undercard. Tomorrow night's card is fucking stacked. If you want to see the who's who of bad motherfuckers in the UFC, watch tomorrow night's card. Every fight is fire. Mackenzie Dern, what?
Oh,
Mackenzie Dern is fighting. Mackenzie Dern is fighting Randa Marcos. Two badasses. Kevin Holland fighting the dentist Darren Stewart. Holy shit! What a fight! Man, I'm pulling for Kevin Holland, but he's going to have to be on his A game. Darren Stewart, the dentist, is a bad motherfucker, and he's got a lot of experience. But Kevin Holland, man, when he's sharp, he looks like one of the best strikers in the UFC. So we're pulling for you, Kevin Holland, the trailblazer.
And I love the fights in the empty apex with Kevin Holland, because he's always out there talking, chiming in, and chirping the whole fight. So with the empty apex, you can hear him. You can hear him talking to his opponent. You can hear him talking to the refs. You can hear him talking to other people sitting outside the cage. I mean, he's a talker, so you hear that aspect of it, and it's pretty cool to see all that.
Right. Myra Bueno Silva. I don't know who that is. Barella. There's a few people I don't know who. Masard Bektik. Man, he's badass. I mean, that guy is up and coming. I really want to see Mackenzie Dern and Randa Marcos. That's going to be a good fight. But Johnny Walker versus Ryan Superman Spann. Ryan Spann fighting out of Fortis MMA in Dallas. How do you think that fight goes?
How do I think it goes? I think that one's going to be a battle. I mean, you've got two awesome fighters going in there. I mean, I think they're both going to, Walker, is a Brazilian, but I think they're going to be probably going to keep it on his feet, and it's going to be a striking war. I mean, this is a battle of 10 and 13. So these are very high-ranked fighters. So they're going to put on a good show, because both of them know that there's a lot on this, victory here, another victory or two, and they could be looking at a title shot.
Well, I know Johnny Walker's coming off a loss. I mean, he's coming off like 2 losses in a row. From what I remember, he's 17-5. Man, what a matchup! Ryan Spann, 18-5. 28-year-old, 29-year-olds. Oh man, orthodox. Johnny Walker's got the 3-inch reach advantage over Spann. I think Spann's got the cleaner hands and cleaner power. Johnny Walker was a lot of hype when he came out, but kind of didn't live up to the hype in his last 2 fights. Because I believe he lost his last 2 fights, didn't he?
Yes, he did lose his last 2.
Yeah, so we'll see. We're pulling for Ryan Spann. Of course, we've had him on the show. Him and he's been on the show a couple of times, hadn't he?
Yes, he's been on a number of times.
Yeah, yeah. Fun, entertaining dude. Giant. He's a giant man. If you haven't seen some of these guys in person, Ryan Spann is huge. He is tall and he is big. 77-inch height. I don't know how tall it is. Looks like Johnny Walker is maybe
6'5".
6'5". Oh, that's a big dude, man. And Johnny Walker is 6'6". So Ryan Spann, you're gonna have to be on your A game, young man. Get this W against Johnny Walker, and get that guy out of here.
So I mean, the other Fortis guy on there is Damon Jackson. I mean, and I know this. He was a replacement. Someone.
Yep.
And I don't know what happened to the opponent, but Damon is somebody that is always training, always in shape. I don't think there's an issue for Damon. I've seen Damon fight on Saturday night at LFA, and the next day he did a marathon. I'm pretty sure it was a marathon. Maybe it was only he went out running at some event.
Whatever it is. I mean, after
fought last night and you went out and ran today. He goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay.
All right. So,
short notice fight for him. Good to see him back in the UFC. I don't really think that, there's weird circumstances with draw, and I think a no contest in his previous UFC fights. So awesome to see him back in there. Looking forward to seeing him. Hopefully
he absolutely dominated an LFA. He was the LFA. He won the LFA championship. We were there, right? And that was that night he won the belt that night, didn't he?
Yep.
And then he went to, was it the Contender he went and fought at? Boy, he went somewhere and then he had a real bad loss. He got it like a flying knee, well-placed knee. That can happen to anybody. Lost that fight. And then I don't think I've seen him since then. I don't remember what he's
seen him fight since then.
Really? Which one was that?
Well,
was it back at LFA?
It was LFA 83.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, we go to so many fights, man. It's hard to remember. Plus, we've both been hit in the head a lot, so you have to take that.
Yeah. Speaking of being hit in the head, the quote that I saw, that I read, or it was on his press conference. And this was from Colby Covington. He was talking about, starting his own gig, and people. He goes, yeah, people used to go complain to the manager. This guy's mean. This guy's saying stuff. He's not doing this and that. And he's like, well, his quote was, well, what do you expect from a guy that they lock into a cage in his underwear and he's trying to steal brain cells from another man?
Yeah, that's the job.
The way he explained, I'm like, yeah. You can't always just flip that switch. Okay, I step in there in the cage, I'm going to be this way, but you're in training, you're mentally preparing to be in that cage. So yeah, you're going to have that attitude that whether you come across as an ass or you upset people, you hurt their feelings, you say too much, but that's just part of who I think fighters are and how they have to train. I've seen that in the service too. Yeah, I mean,
it's a special mentality. I mean, these guys are a little bit crazy. To be in martial arts, you got to have a special kind of crazy. Colby Covington definitely has it. He's a showman. I don't hate him a lot. He's got a lot of haters. I don't hate Colby Covington, man. He's good. He talks a big talk, and then he walks the walk as well. So
yes, and he's coming off of a loss, isn't he? He lost to Usman, and that was for the belt. So
Kamaru Usman beat Colby Covington's ass.
So that one will be a good one. And then unfortunately, whether it's the media nerds, as he referred to them in his press conference, now they're trying to bring politics and race into this fight as well.
Of course.
So
just because he wears that MAGA hat, well, Donald Trump's your president. Un-American not to support your president. That's all I'm saying.
And so he's a fan of him. Dana White's a fan of him. Dana White's,
I'm a fan of him. Hate me. I'm a Latino man who's voting Trump, people.
but people now assume Trump is they blame him for being racist. So Woodley's press conference, he had the same answer for every question. He phrased it a little bit different, but in the end, every question that he had, he referred to. He's now taken his position up on the stand there to voice his for Black Lives Matter. So every time they answered a question, he goes, "Well, I'm just really happy to be here and wants to know that Black Lives Matter." Someone else was asking, he answered it with the Black Lives Matter. So
that's his. I mean, that's his right. You know, that's his right to express it. I'm still I'm a Tyron Woodley fan. You know.
So he's expressing his, and Colby's, support of the president, which then people hate and put them, they put those two together, which they shouldn't. And that's what I think the media is doing, is trying to hype this and make this more of a, they're race baiting it, which they both have an opinion, and they're entitled to the opinion, and they need to express their opinion. And that's what we're allowed to do here in this country.
Yeah.
Without having to be, we can go protest and march and not riot. But in other countries, you do that, you get fucking.
They'll shoot your ass. They'll kill you.
Yeah.
So I'm not falling for the race baiting on this fight. It's just two badass motherfuckers going to throw down. I don't care what color they are. I don't care who they vote for. I respect, each of their opinions. So saying that, we skipped over a fight. Donald Cerrone versus Nico Price.
Yes, we did. We're Joe. We bounce all over the place all the time.
We're ADD, but that's all right. We're semi-informative, but we're entertaining as hell.
It's hard. It's hard to keep up with you, and I know it's hard to keep up with myself.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so, Cerrone stepping back in after 4 losses. I think he's going to come in with a stronger mindset. He's going to have to. He knows that he loves this and is going to keep doing this. I mean, if they would keep him on the card and he lost his last 10, he would still show up and fight. That's just the type of man he is. But I believe this is the fight that he's probably focused a little more. He's changed something. He's going to turn it around. He's going to get that W back. He's going to call him.
That's what he's been saying. He's been saying that. Huge Donald Cerrone fan. Huge. One of the pound for pound baddest motherfuckers ever to step foot in a cage. Coming off 4 losses. Cerrone's always had a weird situation where I don't think he's quite big enough for 170, but he's a little too big for 155. Because when he cuts to 155, he's super dehydrated. When he hits up to 170, he's not big enough. Yep. So, if there was a weight class in the middle and a little bit younger Cerrone, he's 37 years old. And he's got a lot of fights, 36 and 15. 15 losses total in his career, 36 fights. That's a lot of fights.
His 4 losses, when you read down that list, these are impressive fighters: Anthony Pettis, Conor McGregor, Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, those are bad motherfuckers.
Yes.
He's not. I'm gonna tell you this: tomorrow night, he is not fucking losing to Nico Price. I tell you that. I'll promise you that. He's gonna go in there. He's gonna whoop Nico Price. I'll bet a cold beer on it. Cold beer.
All right. No. And the only thing we're going to debate on that is, or try and bet on is how he's going to finish. Is it going to go to decision? Is he going to win by decision, or is he going to finish it?
When Donald Cerrone wins, it's usually he finishes somebody, right? You never see Donald Cerrone go through a lot of. Not that I remember like his most notable wins were they decisions. I mean, he usually, especially a guy like Nico Price, he's at 14-4. That's not a lot of fights to fight a guy like Donald Cerrone. So to me, I think Donald Cerrone is going to come in and school his ass tomorrow night, and that's what I'm hoping for. I want to see Donald Cerrone come out, whoop Nico Price, and go back to the BMF ranch and have a cold beer.
He has a few submissions, but when he wins, it's usually by
he finishes them.
Head kicks. So yeah. So you saying that he's going to
What weight class? Are they fighting at 170?
Hold on. They are fighting at 170, correct?
So Nico Price he's not a huge 170, so it's a good matchup. He does have a little bit of youth and less mileage, but skill set wise, he can't touch Donald Cerrone. Skill set wise.
Yep. So we both think that that Cerrone is going to come out victorious in that one.
Yep. I think he's going to beat him up, take him down, and choke him out. That's what I think. What do you think? Head kick knockout? I don't know.
I'll go for a decision. I think
A decision?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
So you think Donald Cerrone is going to outpoint him? I mean, Donald Cerrone's got a badass stand-up. He can't cut. He's notorious for coming out a little cold. Cerrone.
That's the rumor that they always say. He comes out cold.
Well, when he loses, it's usually first round. You know, when he lost to Conor McGregor, it was quick. First round, it was a first round loss. And I don't, he fought Anthony Pettis so long ago. I know it was a left kick to the liver, but I don't remember what round it was. So we're pulling for you, Cowboy. I think you're going to whoop Nico Price.
Pettis was a decision loss, round 1 loss, round 2 loss. So
round 2 and round 1. All right.
So,
well, I'm pulling for Cowboy. I'm a Cowboy fan.
Yes.
So.
Yep. I'm thinking Cowboy's going to come away with that. Going back to the top of the main one, I think Colby Covington's going to come out victorious in that one as well.
Hell no. Tyron Woodley's going to whoop his white ass.
All right. So we have a fight to bet a beer on.
All right. We'll bet a beer. I turned the race card on, and I'm totally joking, but I don't think Tyron Woodley with the bad blood between Colby Covington. I think Tyron Woodley is going to do everything it takes to whoop Colby Covington tomorrow night. Just because he ain't losing to Colby Covington. That's just one guy I think he's going to refuse to lose to because of the bad blood.
And that's what, and I heard that, I think from Covington, that this is going to be a great fight. You got two fighters that have history, that have animosity, that really want to go in there and do damage to each other. So that is something that elevates it quite a bit. So that I think that's going to be a good fight to watch. But I think that I'm still saying Covington's going to pull this one out.
You think a decision? I think, 5 rounds. It's a 5-round fight. Can Colby Covington go 5 rounds?
It's a good question.
He's got good hand. Colby Covington is a bad motherfucker. Don't get me wrong.
I think he's going to win it in the 4th.
No, come on now. You think Colby Covington's going to finish Tyron Woodley?
There we go. Hey, just as I proved last week, because I did call that one for Watterson, that an old broken clock can be right at least twice a day.
Are you sure about that saying? You don't sound too confident, sir.
I didn't write it down. I'm trying to pull that from memory. So it's somewhere along those lines.
Hey, Correa says Colby Covington's going to win that fight.
See?
So we have to come over. Is that a pay-per-view or is it ESPN Plus?
I think it's a plus.
Oh, man. Well, you got to come over. Correa, you got to come over. We got to watch the whole card.
Yeah, this is
going to be a good card.
This is on ESPN Plus.
It's just going to be good and then Sunday with the Dallas Cowboys at noon. Whoop, whoop. You want to talk about that Cowboy game? You want to talk about that football game where they did not go for the extra point to tie the game and they ended up getting whooped and the pass interference call? Don't get me going.
there's a few things on there, but to get our 10 minutes of football in there, that it with McCarthy coming in, everyone used to give Garrett shit for being conservative. McCarthy now has come in and going, okay, I'm not going to go for the extra point. I'm going to go for the victory. It bit him in the ass at time, but if he would have pulled it off, then everyone would have been, carrying him off the field on his shoulders.
He's a big dude. So, see what the Cowboys do this weekend. Who they playing Sunday? Who they playing?
I don't really know. I haven't looked.
I don't know. We'll see. So, on that note, guys, tune in tomorrow night, ESPN Plus. Headliners: Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington, Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Nico Price. Man, those are going to be wars. We got local fighter Ryan Spann fighting Johnny Walker. Ryan Spann fighting out of Fortis MMA. Mackenzie Dern making her return against Randa Marcos. That's going to be a good fight. And then, of course, Kevin Holland fighting the dentist, Darren Stewart. I think Kevin Holland is going to take this fight. And if he can walk through Darren Stewart like he's been walking through people, that's going to be something to say, because Darren Stewart's a badass.
Yep, it's going to be a great night of fights.
And Damon Jackson back in the UFC. So congratulations, pulling for you, sir.
All right, man. I appreciate everyone tuning in, making comments.
Like and share.
All right.
Have a happy weekend, and we'll see you next week. Everybody stay safe.
All right. Out.